Hare Krishna.
There's one more.
Nasta prasye ahadresu nityam bhagavatas sevaya bhagavatya uttama bhaktir bhavati naistiki.
Hare Krishna. Very nice.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. So we'll start reading. Let me share my screen. Okay. Those who are followers of the Shankara cult are generally known as Vedantists. This does not, however, mean that Vedanta is a monopoly study of the Shankara Sampradaya. Vedanta is studied by all the bona fide Sampradayas, but they have their own interpretations. Those in the Shankara Sampradaya are generally known to be ignorant of the knowledge of the Vedantist Vaishnava. For this reason, the Bhaktivedanta title was first offered to the author by the Vaishnavas. The Lord agreed to take lessons from Bhattacharya on the Vedanta, and they sat together in the temple of Lord Jagannath. The Bhattacharya went on speaking continually for 7 days, and the Lord heard him with all attention and did not interrupt. The Lord's silence raised some doubts in Bhattacharya's heart. The Lord's silence, okay. And he asked the Lord how it was that he did not ask anything or comment on his explanations of Vedanta. So, hope everybody remember the context. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Jagannath Puri. As soon as he saw darshan of Jagannath, he fell unconscious. Then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, a great scholar of that time, from the Shankara Sampradaya impersonalist, a very scholarly person, he could see that this young sannyasi is not some ordinary person. He could see that there are some symptoms of ecstasy. He took Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at his home, and later, when his followers came searching him, they all went to the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, started chanting the holy name, and Lord regained the consciousness. Then later he found that the maternal grandfather of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Nilambar Chakravarti, was the classmate of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya felt a little more connected and felt like, he's like young child, should be educated. So he proposed him that taken the sannyasa, you should also listen to Vedanta. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu agreed. They sat in Jagannath temple, and then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is giving the discourse on Vedantas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very patiently listening all of that without uttering a single word. And that created some doubt then why he's not even asking even one single question. Okay, now let us read next. Go ahead, Hashimji.
The Lord posed himself before the Bhattacharya as a foolish student and pretended that he heard the Vedanta from him because the Bhattacharya felt that this was the duty of a sannyasi. But the Lord did not agree with his lectures. By this, the Lord indicated that the so-called Vedantists among the Sankara Sampradaya or any other Sampradaya who do not follow the instructions of Srila Vyasdev are mechanical students of the Vedanta. They are not fully aware of that great knowledge. The explanation of Vedanta Sutra is given by the author himself in the text of Srimad Bhagavatam. One who has no knowledge of the Bhagavatam will hardly be able to know what the Vedanta says.
Bala.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. The Bhattacharya, being a vastly learned man, could follow the Lord's sarcastic remarks on the popular Vedantist. He therefore asked him why he did not ask about any point which he could not follow. The Bhattacharya could understand the purpose of his dead silence for the days he heard him. This showed clearly that the Lord had something else in mind. Thus, the Bhattacharya requested him to disclose his mind.
Okay. Next, Divya Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Upon this, the Lord spoke as follows: My dear sir, I can understand the meaning of the sutras like Janmadi Asya Yataha, Shastra Yonitvat, and Athato Brahma
Jigyasa.
Jigyasa of the Vedanta Sutra. But when you explain them in your own way, it becomes difficult for me to follow them. The purpose of the sutras is already explained in them, but your explanations are covering them with something else. You do not purposely take the direct meaning of the sutras, but indirectly give your own interpretations. Hare
Right.
Krishna.
Jai Shri Mataji.
The Lord thus attacked all the Vedantists who interpret the Vedanta Sutra fashionably according to their limited power of thinking to serve their own purpose. Such indirect interpretations of the authentic literatures like the Vedanta Sutra are hereby condemned by the Lord.
Read one more.
The Lord continued, Srila Vyasadeva has summarized the direct meanings of the mantras in the Upanishads in the Vedanta Sutra. Unfortunately, you do not take their direct meaning. You indirectly interpret them in a different way.
Krishnanand Kini.
Hare Krishna. The authority of the Vedas is unchallengeable and stands without any question of doubt. And whatever is stated in the Vedas must be accepted completely, otherwise, one challenges the authority of the Vedas. The corn shell and cow dung are bone and stool of two living beings, but because they have been recommended by the Vedas as pure, people accept them as such because of the authority of the Vedas. Hare Krishna.
Krishnaraji.
Hare Krishna. The idea is that one cannot set his imperfect reason above the authority of the Vedas. The orders of the Vedas must be obeyed as they stand, without any mundane reasoning. The so called followers of the Vedic injunctions make their own interpretations of the Vedic injunctions, and thus they establish different parties and sects of the Vedic religion. Lord Buddha directly denied the authority of the Vedas and he established his own religion. Only for this reason, the Buddhist religion was not accepted by the strict followers of the Vedas. But those who are so called followers of the Vedas are more harmful than the Buddhists. The Buddhists have the courage to deny the Vedas directly, but the so called followers of the Vedas have no courage to deny the Vedas, although indirectly they disobey all the injunctions of the Vedas. Lord Chaitanya condemned this. Hare Krishna.
Yamanakshi Mataji. Nidhi Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Krishna, my phone was muted. The
Oh,
example,
Please go.
the example given by the Lord of the conch shell and the cow dung are very much appropriate in the connection. If one argues that since cow dung is pure, the stool of the learned Brahmana is still more pure, his argument will not be accepted. Cow dung is accepted, and the stool of the highly posted Brahmana is rejected. The Lord continued.
Nidhi Mataji, go.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. The Vedic injunctions are self-authorized, and if some mundane creature adjusts the interpretations of the Vedas, he defies their authority. It is foolish to think of oneself as more intelligent than Srila Vyasadeva. He has already expressed himself in his sutras, and there is no need of help from personalities of lesser importance. His work, the Vedanta Sutra, is as dazzling as the midday sun. And when someone tries to give his own interpretations on the self effulgent sun like Vedanta Sutra, he attempts to cover this sun with the cloud of his imagination.
Padma Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. The Vedas and Puranas are one and the same in purpose. They ascertain the absolute truth, which is greater than everything else. The absolute truth is ultimately realized as the absolute personality of Godhead with absolute controlling power. As such, the absolute personality of Godhead must be completely full of opulence, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and denunciation. Yet the transcendental personality of Godhead is astonishingly ascertained as impersonal. Hare Krishna.
Premanand Bro.
The impersonal,
Yeah, Premanand Bro, go ahead.
okay. The impersonal description of the absolute truth in the Vedas is given to nullify the mundane conception of the absolute whole. Personal features of the Lord are completely different from all kinds of mundane features. The living entities are all individual persons and they are all parts and parcels of the supreme whole. If the parts and parcels of the individual persons, if the parts and parcels are individual persons, the source of their emanation must not be impersonal. He is the supreme person amongst all the relative persons.
Yeah, Ramanandji, you can read.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you. The Vedas inform us that from him, Brahman, everything emanates, and on him everything rests, and after annihilation everything merges in him. Only therefore he is the ultimate dative,
Dative, causative.
dative, causative, and accommodating cause of all causes. And these causes cannot be attributed to an impersonal object.
Okay, so let
So
us
they can,
just stop here. Now we'll just discuss a little bit. We read enough. So we'll just quickly summarize so that we don't miss what is happening. So basically, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was listening without even asking any questions, and that raised a doubt in his heart, in the heart of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, that why he's not asking. Then he asked, hey, something is going on in your mind, please reveal your mind. You know, like why you're not asking any question. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, yes, I understand the Vedanta very well. Like the sutras like Janmadi Yashyatha, Shastra Yonitvat, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I understand all of that. But the kind of meaning and interpretations you are giving, I'm not able to understand all of this. So then Prabhupada is giving the explanation there that how all these impersonalists, the Gyanis, so much they interpret the scriptures. The scriptures doesn't need any interpretation. They are like self-effulgent daylight sun. It doesn't need any other torchlight. Right? But these people, these Gyanis, mental speculators, impersonalists, they love to interpret the things and then distort the real import, the real meaning of all these Vedantas. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is basically teaching that, all this idea of interpretation or misinterpretation, you know, is not accepted, is not allowed. One should not play around with all those things, just accept as it is. And then all the commentary on the Vedanta Sutra is given in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. So when we read the Srimad Bhagavatam, basically, we are understanding the Vedanta Sutra, which is like the aphorism, like Athato Brahma Jigyasa. This is just one aphorism, like that. So there's no need to give any interpretation. One should just accept as it is when the bona fide Guru Sishya Parampara. So that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching through this particular pastime. And we'll see that, he say, oh, that you are saying that you are not able to understand what I'm explaining. Then do you have any other better explanations like that? So we'll read that more. So one line crux of today's reading is, we should read the scriptures as it is. Right? Like some of the contradiction, sometimes we may not we may not be able to comprehend certain things written in the scriptures, but still we should, without an interpretation, try to accept it. Like Prabhupada quoted the example of cow dung. Now, scripture says if stool of animal it touched immediately, one should take bath because we are contaminated. But the stool of another animal, which is cow, it is treated as purifying agent. So it sounds contradictory that one side you are saying if you touch the waste, then you have to take bath. And here you are touching the cow waste and you are saying you are getting purified. So it is contradictory. Another example is given of that of the conch shell. Conch shell is nothing but it's kind of a bone, right? So somebody touches the bone of that dead animal or something like that, then again you're contaminated. You have to purify yourself by taking bath. But conch shell has been used in worship. So how it is one bone is not contaminated, all other bones are contaminated, like that. So these are the absolute statements of the scriptures. Sometime with our tiny logic, tiny brain, we may not be able to comprehend and appreciate, but still we should not attempt to give any interpretations like that. We have to accept like that. Somebody cannot interpret. Prabhupada was giving this example that, oh, you're saying that cow dung is very pure because cow is a very good animal or pure animal or something like that. So the cow dung, the waste of the cow is pure. Then if somebody is a very great Brahman, very expert and very advanced Brahmana, then his waste should be even more purer. We cannot apply this kind of logic because Shastra doesn't give you that reasoning. Say cow dung is pure means cow dung is pure. You cannot say cow's dung is pure, then Brahmana's dung should also be pure like that. No, it doesn't work like that. So this Mayavadi, they interpret, mentally speculate, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu couldn't appreciate that. He's teaching us that don't go by all these kind of interpretations. Especially in this modern age, people love to interpret and not interpret, misinterpret. Right. So this is not the way to study the scriptures and understand them. Right. Whatever sometimes, people, whatever they want from the Shastra, they will take that part and rest of the part they will just leave like that. This is called Ardh Kukuti Nyaya, half hen logic. We've heard that story that hen, which was giving the golden egg. So the person thought that, okay, no, backside is good. So I'll take the golden egg and the front side I have to feed the hen. So I chop off. No, it doesn't work like that. Shastra, you had to take everything. You cannot say, oh, this is very nice, I can do this and I like it. So I'll follow this one. And some things, it doesn't resonate with me. I doesn't like it. And I don't like it. And then I'll not follow this. No, you have to follow everything in the scriptures, whether you understand, you don't understand, you like, you don't like. But the Shastra is actually Shabda Brahman. It is directly coming from the Lord. So there's no modification, there's no interpretation, nothing is needed. We have to just submissively, with faith, with Shraddha, with devotion, have to accept, and then things will be revealed. It's not a blind following, but you first have some faith, start following, and then you will see in the due course, things will reveal in the heart. You will say, oh yeah, now it makes sense. In the beginning, it did not make sense to me. So this is the knowledge of the Shastra, like that. So this is the point that through this particular episode, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching this interpretation is not recommended, not allowed. Okay. Anybody has any quick question or any comment? Okay, no questions. Then we'll stop here. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you. We'll read more tomorrow.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.